Today I'm going to show you how to make a coil pot. First you'll have your slab. If you haven't already rolled it, please do that. Often you can cut 2 or 3 bases off of one slab so you don't waste all that clay and all that rolling. Once you've cut it out, put your initials on the bottom and flip it over. The next steps, you're going to use your coils, score and slip them on, cut them, and smooth in the inside. For the first coil, you need to smooth the inside and the outside to create a sturdy base. After that, it's up to you whether you continue to smooth the outside or not. So I'm scoring, slipping. It scored both my coil and the base. And then I'm going to cut that coil where they overlap. Use a knife or a cleanup tool. Take off the extra piece. Then I'm going to go through and I'm going to smooth the outside. Just for this first coil, I want the outside to be smoothed in as well to make it nice and sturdy. I like to use one of the small plastic modeling tools or a wood modeling tool. You can also use the end of a knife or a fork to smooth it in. I usually go in a little bit of like a diagonal motion just for the amount of clay that I have there. On the inside, I'm going to take my outside hand and brace it on the outside of the coil pot. And then I'm taking a little bit of that clay and I'm smooshing it into the base. See here, I'm trying like different tools to do this with, the base of a knife, plastic modeling tool, or even my finger to find one that works best for you. Take a little bit of water and just smooth that in, both on the inside and the outside. We're good to go. So that's my base. Now I can decide if I want to be smoothing the coils in on the outside or the inside or both. So I'm going to score and slip and continue adding more coils, and I at least need to be smoothing it in on the inside. At this point, we are just going straight up and down. So I'm scoring both the coil and the pot, adding some slip. Where they overlap, I'm cutting it, taking out the little pieces, and then again, smoothing them in. Bracing my hand on the outside just really gently so that I'm not squishing any of the coils that I've made, and then kind of smooshing some of that upper clay into the lower clay and into the base. Smoothing it in with a little bit of water. Anywhere that it looks messy on the outside, I'm going to use a paintbrush to clean that up. If I try to use my finger, I'll just end up smooshing all the coils together and it'll look like a mess. So the paintbrush is going to be your best friend for cleaning up any little scoring lines or any extra slip that's squished out. Let's talk about the shape of your pot. We're going to make a template for this. These are both okay shapes. They're gentle shapes. This is not an okay shape. The shape is like too angled. These have really big angles, and with the weight of the clay on top and gravity, they're going to end up falling down. These ones have less angles, so the weight won't push it down. So as you can see, I'm using my template to see if I need to go out or in. As I'm going to start to build out, I'm just going to score a little bit more on the outside edge of my pot so they start to get that angle out. So instead of straight up and down, we're just scoring a little bit on the outside edge of that coil. I'm going to keep kind of checking every single time I add a coil to see if I should keep going out or in or straight up and down. So every time I add a coil, I'll use my template. You can see that's straight up and down. I have a nice little angle. It's not too angled. I like to do multiple coils at a time and then smooth them in just to save time. Even more than 2. I could have done like 3 or 4 or 5 coils and then smooth them all in at once, just to save that time and effort. And again, find the tool that works best for you for smoothing in the inside. I really like the end of a knife. That seems to work pretty well. Now, if you want to smooth in the outside, you can use a rib to do that. I usually do it at an angle, as you can see here, or even just your finger. Just as your hand was bracing on the outside as you're smoothing in the inside of it, your hand now needs to brace the inside as you smooth the outside. So you can see my left hand is inside the pot as my right hand is kind of doing all the work on the outside. And that's just keeping it so that it's not like caving in or I'm punching holes in it. After I've got that generally smoothed in, using that rubber rib will really like finish it off better. And I want to do this while my clay is pretty soft and plastic. And then finishing that with a smooth, like damp sponge will just give it a nice look. So now adding decorative coils. If you're going to be adding decorative coils, you want to make sure they're nice and tight. You do not want to have gaps in your coils. I like to have a flat bottom on mine. And then I'm going to score and slip them where they attach to the pot and where they attach to each other. So I'm scoring these two coils, these spirals together, where they attach to the pot there. And then also where they attach to each other there. I'm kind of pressing them gently down onto the pot and in towards each other. You want to have a really nice tight fit so that they don't dry and shrink and break off. And then same strategy as with the horizontal coils. I'm just going to smooth that in with a tool and a little bit of water. If I have any low points, I might add a little bit of clay and make sure they're really well scored and slipped together to each other. Cleaning that up with the paintbrush. Here I have a braid. I'm going to attach that to the spirals. So again, I need to score where the braid is going to touch the spirals and the bottom. And I'm going to score the braid itself. Then I'll add that slip and press it firmly down and onto the spiral. Bracing my hand on the outside so I don't mess up the braid. And then using a tool on the inside to smooth it. So I'm really not touching the coils on the outside at all. The only thing that really touches them is a paintbrush or the outside of like the palm of my hand. Now I'm going to show you if you want to add extra horizontal coils. So this might be that you're done with your decorative design and you just need to have some horizontal coils for a while, or you want to add those horizontal coils and end up smoothing them in. So I'm just adding a few coils so you can get the feel for how to do this, but you could do 5 or 6 coils at a time. So I have that hole there. And because I didn't cut my coils to fit perfectly, I'm going to add in a little bit of extra clay in the back and smooth it in. I could have also cut those coils so that they fit perfectly without the gap, if that's something that you like the look of better. And then doing like we always do, and you can see that this would take less time if I'm only doing it once for 3 or 4 coils instead of 3 times for 3 coils. So once I have the inside smoothed in, again, bracing my hand gently on the outside so I don't moosh my coils. I'm going to come in and kind of clean it up a little bit with the paintbrush. Now I'm going to show you, if you want to, how to smooth in the rest. Again, you don't have to smooth in these coils. You could leave them showing. But if you want to, I'm just trying to be really careful when I smooth in the ones that are closest to my decorative pieces so that I leave the edge that's near the decorative coil and up into the horizontals. Then I'm going to finish it with a rubber rib. And again, I'm just going to do this kind of carefully, especially around those decorative coils. But you can see what happens when you do it with a rubber rib. It makes it much smoother. So my big tips, 4 to 5 coils at a time, then smooth it all as a group to save your time. And try to smooth those in that whole day so that they're still nice and wet and will actually smooth in.